home. This is Blockchain Universe. This is Crypto Chat. I'm here with Bruce the Goose. We're going to have a great conversation about crypto art. Welcome, Bruce.
How's it going? Glad to be here.
So, tell us about crypto art. How did you get into this space?
That's two entirely different answers, but okay. So a short explainer of crypto art is basically it's digital art that's provably scarce and provably authentic through being tokenized as what's essentially a cryptocurrency, just a different token standard on the blockchain. How I got into it is in around December. Last fall, or I was getting ready to set up a drop shipping business and learning web design and online business scaling and all that stuff. And I was having a lot of difficulty trying to set up payment processing as a brand new business owner. And that led me to like, okay, well, maybe Bitcoin is an option because I just went through all this work and I put all this money into it. And if I can't take credit cards online, I can't sell anything online. Like, nobody's going to write me a check and hope for the best. So,
Exactly.
I started looking into okay, maybe Bitcoin, and running around the edge of that rabbit hole led me to seeing like an announcement for the release of Engine Coin. And I've played video games for years. I played a lot of Minecraft, so like I'm aware of Engine being a successful game studio, and I'm like, what the hell is Engine doing in cryptocurrency? And then right into that, found out about NFTs and like their whole multiverse program with like interoperable games and stuff. And uh, digging deeper into that led me to Cent, which is their whole multiverse program, crypto, and
Nice.
it's very heavily populated by artists. And I
Nice.
saw some really cool art, and I started reading about it, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And then like just fell entirely down the rabbit hole, and like can't think of anything I'd rather be doing with my life.
I hear you, buddy. That's so amazing. What a great journey to go through. I love what's going on in this space, the amount of people, the energy. Everybody's just so welcoming. Everybody just wants to get creative and collaborate and do some amazing art pieces. So tell us about where you see this space going.
I am fairly certain that, but in like sooner rather than later, like 95% of all art's going to be digital. Like if not primarily, or like if not originally digital, like it's going to be digitized and verified on blockchain. Like there's
All right.
like there's
I
oh, go ahead.
go ahead. No, finish your
I was
thought.
gonna say there's a running like dispute. There's a lot of people that think the Louvre doesn't have the actual Mona Lisa because the last time it was stolen. Like, but there's incredible counterfeits out there of like really famous paintings, and there's a lot of people that'll tell you like, no, the Louvre does not have the actual Mona Lisa because like it's an incredibly good counterfeit, and like it's really hard to prove that. You know, you got to have like an expert art historian and like all these other qualifications to even be able to say you know whether it's not uh, authentic. Whereas with blockchain, I can be like, I made this piece on this day from this address. You can go look at it on any blog explorer and prove it's real.
Yes, and that's where I want to talk about next, more about the validation and verification with crypto art. So there's many different platforms that people can use, and there's several that you're on, and I definitely want you to plug in all your different links. But tell us more about the system itself and why you trust using putting your art on the blockchain and having that validate your art.
So as a like it's kind of a two-part system really. Like most of the like basically done for you contract platforms where either you launch a smart contract from their platform or you tokenize art under their contract. They use IPFS to store it. So like once you upload something to IPFS, it's given a unique content identifier address, and that can be accessed from anywhere that has the ability to get to the internet and port through an IPFS gateway. And if you change even 1 pixel in a picture, and then like it's on IP, it gets a whole new address, and like it's crazy, really. The whole
It's a
thing
whole
like blows my
process, you
mind.
guys.
But yeah, so IPFS is basically distributed cloud storage, di- mirrored between millions of computers. So like no content on it can ever be censored, changed, or taken down. Once you change the content, it has a completely different content identifier and a completely new address. And so like with crypto art, like if you give somebody the hash address of the content identifier on IPFS, they can go see that like high resolution image and download it and stuff. And then every time you tokenize a piece, it as a non-fungible token, like where Ethereum, for an example, has a contract address that creates the Ethereum tokens. Every Ethereum token is the same as every other Ethereum token. If you want to like interchange them, you know what I mean? Like if I give somebody 1 Ethereum, I don't give a shit where the 1 Ethereum, at what block height or whatever the one they give me back comes from. Compared to as with an NFT, like every token has a unique token identifier under the contract and a completely different address for its creation. So
Awesome.
like
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
so like
it's
if I
such
say
a good.
yeah, go ahead. Oh yeah, so
No, I was just gonna.
if like if you want to question whether or not a Brucethegoose is a Brucethegoose, I can be like, yeah, here's my Ethereum address that I tokenize everything from. If it didn't come from that address, it's not mine.
Facts. And that's one of the things that I think is really cool about this space, just being able to prove your art piece and, collecting not just your art piece, but art pieces that you you wanted to invest in and purchased. And now you can have an entire portfolio of all of these different art pieces, just like a collector of physical art pieces. But, you get that final amount of like how much all your pieces are worth in your wallet. And I think that's really cool, and what really pulled me towards crypto art. Even if you have some low end art pieces, if they increase over time, like you can see how much your portfolio is worth. And I think that's really cool, as opposed to physical artists who need to go hire someone or go out to a lot of galleries in order to really build their clout and raise their portfolio. I think that this space is it's so cool how many different ways it's kind of spinning out. So what are the different trends you've picked up on in the time that you've been in the space?
Um, I'd say there's definitely right now there's probably a big thing going on with like 3D collectible cards, which is cool, but like I also think it's kind of pandering at a point. Like somebody originally did it and it was awesome and it took off, and now like everybody's doing it because it's selling. But I mean, and in a way I get that, like people got bills and shit, but I think it's kind of I don't like to make stuff because I think there's a market demand for it. Like I like to make art that I want to make or has a message that I want to say.
Okay, right
Or
on.
sometimes I do stuff just for fun, like JK trolling. Like I had so much fun making that piece.
I bet. Guys, definitely got to check out his art pieces. So let's plug it in there now. Where can people find some of your crypto art pieces?
The simplest way to find stuff would be to go to brucethegoose.xyz/links. That goes to my link aggregator page, which has most of my stuff. At least most of my stuff on Ethereum. Then I'm on Hive, on NFT Showroom, Atomic Assets, on Wax. I was trying to get into
Nice.
Pixios, but like I keep forgetting what my password is for my EOS wallet, and
I don't
haven't
even
used
know
it enough to care.
Pixios.
So yeah, it's a same concept, but there's NFTs on a bunch of different blockchains now, and like I keep trying to get around to all of them, but Ethereum's definitely probably the biggest market.
So which ones, I guess, do you like more and see more potential in compared to others? Like, give me your rank from top 10
Oh, the platforms or blockchains?
platforms for crypto art, NFTs.
I think top definitely is async art because it blows the roof off of what you can do with, like, I mean, as much as digital art takes the roof off of what's possible with art because it removes like so many barriers in the physical space. Async even further takes the roof off of it by letting you make that art programmable and customizable based on like your parameters. Like with actually async art was like the thing that really like blew my mind and made me really dig into the space when they did their debut piece, The First Supper. That was a collaboration between, I want to say, 22 artists, and it's made up of 24 separate layers that are all individually owned by different people, and all those layers can change between like 3 or 4 different states, and every time one of them changes, the change is reflected on the master, which is the piece that displays the entire thing.
That's interesting. I got to check that out. I have not heard of that one. I'm assuming that runs on Ethereum.
Yep, that's on Ethereum. So like every piece, like, and people have done some really crazy stuff with it. Block 21 from crap, I cannot think of his name, and I'm sorry if he's ever seen this and I can't think of it, but just recently, I think on the 7th of this month, an async art piece that is like a culmination of years worth of work, reflecting like the Bitcoin, like the meaty bits under the hood of Bitcoin, was sold at Christie's for over 130 grand.
That's wild. It's always like amazing to me to hear about all of these ridiculously wild price points for some of these digital art pieces. You know, first one that blew my mind was the sale of that crypto kitty for $140,000. Now you got Paris Hilton selling a cat she drawn a live streamed for $17,000. Where do you see I guess the limit? Is there a limit? Are we gonna see some $1 million art pieces soon?
I think like, I mean, the 130 grand at what Christie's was like a huge milestone. Like, that's absolutely amazing. It's the biggest art auction house in the world. So like to have crypto art at Christie's is like mind blowing. And like right now, NFTs are getting a ton of attention, mostly because of like DeFi came to NFT land and brought all the degens with it. But Trevor Jones did a collaboration with Jose Delbo, who was the original line artist for DC and Marvel from like way back since like the 60s or 70s. Like,
wow,
the artist who created Batman as an art, like the art for Batman. He fairly recently came into crypto art. He's on Maker's Place.
I do recall seeing some Batman photos, like OG Batman photos recently. So what was his name again? I'm gonna have to look him up.
Jose Delbo.
Jose Delbo. Gonna have to look that one up. Thanks for bringing that up. And
just yesterday, collection launched from Nick Percival, the artist for Judge Dredd.
Nice. And
that was on
Terra
Virtua.
You brought up DeFi, so I definitely want to move into that and not forget about that subject. But I want to hear your third favorite platform for NFTs, non-fungible tokens.
Probably OpenSea. Like, OpenSea has everything on Ethereum, basically. Like, if it's an NFT on Ethereum, you can find it on OpenSea. And they also allow you to, like, you can accept. They have a ton of different tokens listed that you can accept payment in. So you can change your storefront to like accept X token, and then like even if your piece or whatever you're selling from your storefront isn't listed for that piece, people can make offers in that token. And like with the rise of social tokens, like that's becoming a whole big thing. Like everybody can launch a token easily enough, and then fairly easily get that token added to accepted tokens on OpenSea to allow anybody to sell stuff for it.
Yeah, the space is getting so intricate and so detailed. It's amazing. So let's finish out the list. I'm so curious as to how you feel about some of the other big platforms that a lot of people use and where they are on your list. So I'm just going to throw out some names and, tell me where you would rank them that list of 1 to 10. I believe you said async was 1. I missed what number 2 was.
I don't know if we hit number 2. I think we were just talking about async. Number 2 would probably be Rarible.
Okay, maybe I
Rarible makes
miscounted.
it super easy, super accessible, and then like the Rary token like gave them a ton of attention. Somewhere in September, I mean, as an example, Super Rare has been around for a few years, and like pretty recently it was like, oh, we just hit a milestone of fucking. Sorry, I'll try to stop myself from cussing so much.
You don't have to, buddy.
We hit
You're
a
an adult.
milestone
We're
of,
all
like,
adults here.
$1 million earned by artists on our platform, and like it was this whole big deal. And I have mixed feelings about Super Rare. Well,
Ooh,
I don't have
I
mixed
want to
feelings
get
about it.
into
I don't like
that
Super Rare.
because
I'm
I will
proud
have
of the artists, and I'm super happy for them. But like,
I
Super Rare made this huge
wanna-
deal about $1 million in sales, and they specified like $1 million earned by artists. They don't go into detail about like, okay, that's $1 million earned by artists minus our 15% that we take. And then like just as a comparison, like that was after a few years of the platform being live. Rarible started in February, got a bunch of I had a bad reputation for a while because of like some bad actors, you know what I mean? Like you make something open to everybody, you're gonna have people abuse it. But like that's not Rarible's fault, that's those people's faults. One bad apple doesn't mean the whole tree's bad. But anyway, so like in September at some point, in one day Rarible did like 3.5 million in sales volume.
Wow.
Throughout the course of the month of September, they did close to 6 million.
So I really wanted to know, where do you see Wax on your list of 1 to 10?
Wax is definitely got a ton of potential for NFTs in general. It's super easy to. In the U.S., it's not easy to get Wax, but like you can buy mostly everything with a credit card. And
so if I was to force you to rank it, where would it fall? Since we said async is number 1, 2 is Rarible, 3 is OpenSea, where does Wax fall?
I kind of think of Wax in a kind of different category because it's a different blockchain, and like I don't think that art has really gotten a lot of traction there yet. Like, I've sold art on Wax, but like it's cheap, like, dirt cheap compared to what my normal prices are. But it's just because it was sitting there, and it's like I want to sell this. Like I'm trying to, it's here, you know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna burn it. Like I want somebody to have it. I'm sick of looking at it in my wallet.
Interesting.
I think Wax has a ton of potential to be like a big push for mainstream adoption. Like they did the William Shatner packs, and like the Garbage Pail Kids got huge. What was another one that was really big over there? I'm trying to think. I know there's
those
another
are
one
the
recently
two that I'm aware of.
Atari is doing stuff with Wax.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Atari's getting deep into the crypto stuff, which is really exciting. They partnered with the Sandbox.
Litecoin.
Did they? I didn't hear about the Litecoin thing.
Yeah, Litecoin Foundation. Yep.
Oh, that's interesting. They also
and they finally released their console.
Did they?
Yes, they did.
Exciting news because based on the hype around that coming out, I aped into Ultra pretty hard.
Yeah, Ultra Gaming. I recently saw them. I didn't know too much about them before, so I would like to dibble into that because we are gamers here in virtual reality. We love to talk about gaming, but definitely wanted to get some room in for some artists. So thank you for joining us. Not done. Just want to appreciate you for being here and for telling us about this space. So let's get into the nitty gritty of the DeFi movement into the crypto art scene. That's one of the big topics that a lot of people have been talking about recently, and I'd love to break it down for people that really just don't get it. So I think number 1, we got to start with, what is DeFi in general?
Well, DeFi is short for decentralized finance, which, if you want to think about it at a high level, crypto in general is a decentralized financial system. But more particularly, like when we talk about DeFi in the crypto world, it's mostly leveraging automated market making protocols and automated money markets to either have access to funds you wouldn't have be able to get otherwise. Like I can't go to a bank and get a loan, but like I can go to for example, and be like, look, I have this much to put up for collateral. I would need this much money to borrow, and like as you loan and pay, as you take out loans and supply collateral for loans and pay back loans, etc., you get interest and reputation, and usually that platform's governance token. So people are like, there's people out there that are way smarter than me at like the technical stuff, and they're doing what they call flash loans, where they'll supply collateral to and take out loans against the same money, like 15 to 20 times in the same transaction, and earn a bunch of money doing it.
Fascinating. So, you guys heard it, financial system where if you needed to get a loan, instead of going to a regular bank and getting a loan and going through that long process, faster, simpler way, you could be able to go through a decentralized platform where you're basically peer-to-peer money lending. But as collateral, some people use other cryptocurrencies, and now we're starting to see with the movement of DeFi and NFTs, which are non-fungible tokens, you can be able to collateralize your crypto art, and you're not officially giving up your crypto art, you're just holding it in a smart contract for collateral until you pay back that loan. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, there's a platform called NFTFi that does exactly that. Like you can put up NFT as collateral, and then on a direct peer-to-peer system, somebody can be like, okay, I'm willing to loan you this much at this interest rate for this amount of time, and if you don't pay back the loan, then the escrow gives them the NFT.
Fantastic. I think that's a great way to just kind of dibbling to just this whole DeFi space and utilizing some of the art collections that I've been, starting, and being able to really gain that clout, like you're saying, and on that governance, and being able to show that like I'm a reputable digital asset holder. I think that's really cool that that's something that's happening in this space right now. There's so many different ways that blockchain is being integrated into so many different industries, and I definitely think that decentralized finance and the crypto art scene working together is really going to be a wonderful powerhouse. Don't you agree?
Oh, 100%. And I guess the DeFi really started to make its way in with meme, which I don't think anybody expected anything out of. Like the whole slogan for meme was "Don't buy meme." Little did we know, we totally should have bought meme because
Yep.
What hit all-time high at like 1,500 or something like that.
I was so sad I didn't get it. My girl told me about it, and I was just like, why would I buy a meme coin? Like, what's the point of this? And then when I saw that price go up, I was like, all right, I don't know what's up. I don't know what's down anymore. Like anything can go to the moon.
I paid very little attention to DeFi, like while it was a big buzzword this summer, because I was like, now I'm already way deep in NFT land. I can't jump down a whole other rabbit hole. And then like I started seeing the gains people are getting. It's like, man, I should have jumped down that rabbit hole. Like I had a couple $100 that I wasn't using that I could have happily turned into way more money.
Yeah, man.
But I mean, meme like
Wi-Fi, that was one that I learned about way in advance, and I swore like I could have bought Wi-Fi at like I think it was $2 when I first saw it, and then all of a sudden it was like $30, and I was like, nah, I'll wait for it to fall. Didn't fall, just kept going up. Next thing I know, it was over like Bitcoin, and I was like, what is happening? Just don't ever wait, guys.
Right? Like I'm probably in a bunch of coins right now that are gonna go nowhere, but like the FOMO is real at this point. Like meme was like what, and then waifu too, like absolutely nonsense. But I mean they're doing a ton of stuff, I guess, like the vaults.
Yeah,
at
this point, like, even if it's going nowhere, I kind of just hold on to the ones that I bought into just to see if it goes up during the next bull run. It's so interesting to see what happens with this space. Anything can happen at any given minute.
Yeah, it's definitely an exciting place to be. Like, I mean, I've only been in crypto for as long as this year really, because and what brought me in mostly was art. I mean, I've known
Oh
about Bitcoin
wow.
forever. Like,
I
I mean, what
t-
initially brought me in was gaming, because like I said, I came across the Engine Coin announcement, and I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, we got this interoperable multiverse of games where like you own your game items and you can take them to other games with you. And I was like, this is absolutely blowing my mind right now. And then from
Absolutely,
there, I
yes.
found art, and like now I don't even have time for games because I'm too busy doing stuff like this and making art.
I love it. That's so I'll mention that I saw Bitcoin in 2011 at 30 cents and silly me, I didn't buy it then. Uh I've been watching this space ever since 2011, knowing that it had potential to one day be where it is and where it's going. I surprisingly didn't actually jump balls deep into Bitcoin. I didn't go down the rabbit hole really until about 2018, after I saw the ICO bull market. I realized I got to do something. There's no reason why I don't have any Bitcoin, why I've been watching the space for 7 years and haven't really done anything in this space. And all these companies are creating companies left and right and doing so much things in this space. So that's when me and my colleagues got together and started Bits and Tokens, which is a blockchain media company. So for people like you or any other companies that really wanted to get some media coverage, have a video producing team and stuff like that without needing to go spend thousands of dollars for some company to come out to you. We wanted to be able to help in that space both virtually and physically. We have all the equipment that's needed, and that's when we started Bits and Tokens. And after going to several events and conferences, I started to see like virtual reality at conferences. The one that really got my attention was IOHK, which is by the people that make Ada and Cardano. And I met Charles Hoskinson, and we had a long chat about virtual reality and how it's going to integrate with blockchain. And that really inspired me to build this world that you're in right now and doing virtual reality conferences and events on a regular basis. And oddly enough, one of my colleagues is here, Block the Central. He was already doing crypto meetups in Altspace. I would be willing to say he was the first person that started doing VR Altspace crypto meetups. So partnered with him, we created Blockchain Universe, and here we are talking about blockchain gaming, now blockchain art, DeFi, all these different movements that are happening in the crypto space since 2019.
Yeah, I think now is definitely a time. I think the whole crypto space is about to get real weird and real fun. But it's an amazing
Absolutely.
thing to be a part of. Like, I mean, I got into it on financial motivation, really. You know what I mean? Like, as most people probably do. Because like my reasoning was like, I guess maybe I can take Bitcoin for payments online, and that'll solve my payment issue problem at least for now. And then like researching that like brought me into the whole like the fundamentals behind decentralization and Web 3.0 and stuff like that. And it's the future. Like it has to be, or we're not going to survive as a race. Like maybe not maybe not specifically cryptocurrency, but like the way that Google and Facebook and like big corporations literally own our information and like harvest it for profit, like that can't continue. It's not sustainable.
I agree. I agree. I think it's amazing what we're doing with this space and incentivizing people to share their data and incentivizing people not to share their data at all, but still getting access to the tools that they want, using interoperability and some of the tools that are on the blockchain for privacy, having privacy coins like Monero. There's so many different routes and options that people have. I really love to relate blockchain to the internet because it's really just this wild west of information, and anybody can do anything in this space. So
Yeah,
what
100%. I very often refer like to the people that I talk to that are clueless about it. And like I try to explain it in simple terms, and the simple terms that I'm using are blockchain lingo that like I don't even realize I'm talking about. Like, I mean, I like use words like ERC 721, ERC 1155, and distributed systems. And they're just like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, dude. I'm like, I'm trying to put it in simple terms. Like, I don't know any simpler way to explain it. I'm sorry.
And
It
that's
was
one
just
of
the
the
way I
reasons
talk.
why I created Crypto Chat, because I noticed that same thing started happening to me as I would talk to people that are not into crypto, and that it's you really start to pick up a vocabulary that regular people just don't understand. So it's been really challenging to talk to people here in VR every day and meeting so many people that don't know anything about crypto. So I love just, meeting people that can perfectly word breaking down things and helping me out in the long run with educating others that come here about what's going on in the space. So I want to thank you for breaking down DeFi the way that you did, because that's been a challenge for me in itself. But for people that are seeing us and just joining us here in alt space, we're talking about crypto the way that you did, because that's crypto art and the platforms that are out there. There's so many different routes. We also discussed some of the other things that you can do with this technology, like blockchain gaming, which inspired you and also inspired me in a sense to create a lot of things that we're doing. I really want to get to a point where we have like esports for with blockchain games here in virtual reality, and we can have a crowd of people watching as they're doing certain competitions and challenges, and people can be able to interact and with the gamers, and trade NFTs and stuff like that. Kind of like when I was younger, I used to love just going to Toys R Us and playing Pokemon with all my friends, and trading with other people and doing different tournaments. So where do you see blockchain and gaming and art in the near future?
I think gaming is our best route to mainstream adoption for blockchain in general. 'Cause like it's a multi-billion-dollar a year market, and like it's such a huge audience. And like once you wrap your head around that whole concept of, okay, if I stop playing WoW or my account gets banned, and it doesn't matter how much I've spent, how much money or time I've spent in WoW, that's all gone, and there's not a damn thing I can do about it. Compared to, for an example, what's a good example? League of Kingdoms, which like you don't have to own any, like you don't even have to know it's on blockchain to play it. But like, I mean, I guess that's kind of half and half, because like the resources aren't initially tokenized, but you can tokenize and sell extra resources. It's an RTS city builder, like PvP
Nice.
stuff, and like
Real-time strategy for those non-gamers.
the whole world is divided into land parcels that is owned by the players or by investors that are speculative and think it's going to rise in value or whatever. And like by
And there's
owning land in the world, anybody who harvests resources on your land, you get a percentage of that. And I don't know the exact
interesting.
numbers on it, but the entire like the game's external revenue like is entirely there's a percentage anyway of the game's external revenue that is distributed to all the landholders.
Nice. I think it's interesting how a lot of blockchain games are really going about the route of like initial land offerings. How we had ICO market with crypto gaming, it's more of the ILO. And it's interesting that a lot of games are offering different use cases, whether it's like Decentraland where people can just come, play and do different things on your lands, or like you just said, with what game was that you said? Legend League
League of
of
Kingdoms.
Kingdoms.
It's
Nice.
an MMO strategy game,
So many
and
different
like
options.
you can download it on your phone. You don't have to know a damn thing about blockchain, and you can play it and be perfectly content playing it and never know it's on blockchain. But
That's
then like
pretty neat.
if you want to deep dive into it, you can be like, oh wow, I have a million extra wood that I don't need. I can tokenize that and sell that million wood as an NFT to somebody else who needs it.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, no, that's definitely needed in this space as people play real time strategies and put thousands of hours. I sure did with Rise of what was the game that I used to play? Um, there was a really Age of Empires. That was one of my favorite real time strategy games back in the day. Greek mythology was another one that had a really great real time strategy component, and I would love to be able to play games just like that, the same AAA quality. But or I wouldn't say AAA, but the same quality, but being able to tokenize some of the assets, like you said. So I guess how long do you see, better quality, higher fidelity games that regular people are going to want to get into? Because at the moment, it's mainly just
Oh,
a
they're
bunch of
coming
games that
fast.
are geared towards blockchain gamers.
I actually kind of disagree with that one. Um, while there's definitely an aspect of like the blockchain part is part of the appeal for a lot of the games. Like as an example, the Six Dragons is a open world RPG. It's a lot like Skyrim, I guess, for comparison sake, where most like a good number of the assets that you can collect and like the weapons and stuff like that is all NFTs natively. And they just recently partnered with Sony. So
I didn't
that's
hear about this. What?
yeah. I'm part of the engine multiverse. So like if I have hammer that I found in the Lost Relics in my engine wallet and I link that engine wallet to my Six Dragons account, I have the Forge Hammer in the Six Dragons.
Interesting. There's so much
And
stuff
there's
going
also
on in
a
this space, guys. There's no way to keep up with it
engine
all
released
by
a
yourself.
publicly accessible plugin for Minecraft that allows anybody who runs a Minecraft server to include blockchain and NFT functionality in that
Engine
server.
Craft. I believe that's the name of the server that they call it. I haven't checked it out yet. I'm not much of a Minecraft fan.
Yeah, well, that's actually Minecraft is indirectly the reason I'm such a crypto nerd right now and such an NFT fan. Because like I know Engine through Minecraft and like I've kept an eye on Engine for a decade and I was like, wait a minute, Engine has a cryptocurrency now. What is this nonsense about? It was like, oh, we're doing this whole thing where there's like these 40 games, or like the number keeps growing, where like they have interoperable items and stuff like that, and it's like mind blowing.
Yeah, guys, I think that is the biggest potential, and I like to relate it a lot to like Fortnite because a lot of people are at least aware of how Fortnite works and how you have V-Bucks that a lot of people spend their money on, but you don't own V-Bucks. You don't own any of the digital assets you buy with V-Bucks in Fortnite, like the parachutes or your skins. And if Epic ever decides to shut down Fortnite, all of the money that kids spent on V-Bucks is all gone. You have nothing to retain. Whereas with blockchain games, you can be able to buy engine and then use your engine to buy any one of the forged hammers, swords, and different assets, skins. And if that game gets shut down, you still own those assets. And I think that's the real potential behind this, as well as being able to plug it into another game, interoperability, as well as trading it with your friends like Pokemon cards. This space is growing so fast, and there's so many different options. It's amazing. Is there any other things that you want the audience to know? And if anybody has any questions, let me know.
I mean, I'll point out for Engine in particular, I think the way they set it up is really good. I mean, they made the ERC 1155 token standard so that they could do it the way they wanted to, where like every engine asset, whether it's art or a video game item or whatever, what have you, is backed by a certain amount of engine coins. So like, say I have, if I have the Forge Hammer, for example, I don't have the Forge Hammer. I would like to. But if I had the Forge Hammer and like I decided I'm never gonna try and sell this to somebody else, I'm not playing any of these 40 games. I can take it with me to. Then if I really want to, I can it's called melting, and I can melt the Forge Hammer and get back the amount of engine coin that it's backed by.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
basically
a
tokens
really neat
staked inside of
feature.
NFTs that you can then burn the NFT to get the tokens out of.
And there's so many different consensus algorithms, so many different things you can do, from melting to minting to all these different options that I'm now learning about. It's such a rabbit hole to go down. I can't
Oh
wait
yeah,
to talk more about it.
it's a rabbit hole full up on rabbit holes. Like you get down in this
Absolutely.
rabbit hole and you're like, oh, there's a fork in the road. Let me pick which side I go to, and then you go down that side, and you're like, oh, there's like 8 more rabbit holes over here. What happened?
Pretty much. It's way too much to keep up by yourself, which is why I
It's
do this every
it's
single
really
week. I want
incredible.
to
Yeah.
bring together that herd knowledge, bringing us all together on a weekly basis so we could break down some of the different things of the week that's happening that people should know about within this space. I want to
I
thank you
think
so
there's
much for
definitely
joining me.
more need for that. Like just people like everybody wants to be king of their own castle. You know what I mean? Like, which is okay in a sense. You know, like, but at the same time, like, we should all just get together and collaborate and like hang out, share knowledge, share
which is
ideas, share resources, etc.
which is why I built this world, guys. This is a public announcement. You guys are welcome to host events in my world. I'll use my resources to be able to help you guys, do events. You can come up here on the stage, host your own event. I'll be in the background managing it. I just want to get more people to do events in virtual reality and bring the crypto community together. My goal with this world is to get to a point where we had 24/7 events. If you're at home not doing anything, you can always go to AltSpace, come to Blockchain Universe, and find an event that you're interested in. Is there a way that people can be able to get in contact with you, Bruce?
Easiest is probably Twitter. At XBrucethegoose. That's my hand tag like everywhere. I try to keep it. Try to keep it constant across pretty much anything. But then otherwise, brucethegoose.xyz/links has most of my social media and stuff like that. I'm on Discord, I'm on Telegram, I'm in everything NFTs. I've actually had people say that to me. They're like, people just getting into the space. They're like, yo, I see this Bruce the Goose guy friggin' everywhere. I'm like, that's because I am everywhere.
Gotta be.
If it's
Content
NFT
creators
related, I'm
should
getting
be
involved.
everywhere. Absolutely. Guys, this has been a wonderful chat with Bruce the Goose. If anybody has any questions, ask now or forever hold your peace. All right. I want to thank you so much for joining me, Bruce. Thank you guys for being here. Till next time, I'm Jerome, and this is Blockchain Universe. Goodbye.
Thanks for having me. We'll have to chat more. I got